So what is renewal, and why am I talking about it, and how does it work? Well, I first learned about the importance of renewal over 10 years ago when my mentor, Jerry Ballinger, told me to read the book, The Paradox of Success by John O'Neill. And in that book, John O'Neill talks about the dark side of success, and he talks about how sometimes in our drive to become successful, we become blind, we become addicted to work, we become workaholics, and we become so fascinated with the idea of success that it becomes not enough that we succeed, but other people have to fail, and it brings out this dark competitive side of us. When John finally talks about what it takes to prevent this and to actually create a balanced, sustainable life where you can have success and joy and fulfillment, it all comes down to, you guessed it, renewal. Renewing the body, the mind, the emotions, the spirit. And over the years, as I've used this concept and I've studied it deeper, I've realized that there's an aspect to renewal, or there's a way of looking at it that I had never realized before, and that almost no one that I've ever met or talked to has realized before. And I think it's really the key to renewal. And here's what that is. Our bodies and our emotions and our minds and our spirits, if you will, actually have natural systems where they renew themselves. They actually have systems that are built in where they go through and they take all the old junk and they get rid of them, and they bring in the new, and they put new building blocks in place, and they replace the weak links, and they take the sick cells and they get rid of them, and they put new healthy cells in place. And this happens on all of these different levels. And the real insight here is not that these processes exist, but it's that they can't really be affected consciously. That you can't say to your body, okay, what I'd like you to do is go in and get rid of all the cancer cells right now. You can't go in and say to your emotions, okay, what I'd like you to do is just stop being depressed right now, stop feeling bad, we're going to start feeling better right now. You can't do that and have those things respond. In most cases, most people can't control their thoughts at all, right? As we learned in this program, we have what's called the monkey mind, the inner butterflies, where our mind and our emotions just go off and they're triggered, and we realize hours later, wow, how did all that time go by? And wow, I was thinking about all that weird negative stuff, or I got off track. And when you realize this, when you really get that you can't control these different levels in the moment with your conscious mind, and unless you're very highly trained, like a yogi who's sat in a cave on a blanket for 40 years, and until you realize that you can't do it, that we just can't do that, you can't have the breakthrough you need to really understand renewal. So in this particular section, I'm going to try to help you have those breakthroughs and get those understandings so that you can go and give your body, your emotions, your mind, your spirit, the basic building blocks that they need so that they can renew themselves. Now, it takes commitment, it takes discipline, it takes action to bring those basic building blocks to yourself, and it takes commitment and discipline and action to stop doing the things that hurt those processes. Okay, so on the one hand, we have to stop doing the things that hurt our own internal processes, our natural processes that stand in their way. And then we have to consciously bring in the building blocks so that those processes can take care of themselves. So let's talk a little bit about what some of those are. On a physical level, most people say, I want to feel better. I want to have more energy. I want to feel more energized. I want to feel more like I want to just go, grab the world by the horns, and I want to make something happen. I want to feel like, yes, but they have no idea how to do it, okay? Well, get this. Your body wants to feel that way too. Your body wants to feel energized. It wants to feel great. And in fact, it has all of the systems in place to make you feel great all the time, to feel energized, and to feel like you want to go take action. And if you don't feel that way, then it probably means that you're not giving your body the natural building blocks that it needs to feel that way. Now, we've talked about, I've woven a lot of this into the program, by the way, so that hopefully you're getting some of the benefits right now. As an example, your body needs water. Why does it need water? Well, something like 60 or 80% of all of your weight in your body is made up of pure water. Water is what your cells use on the cellular level to clean themselves, to carry nutrients around, to do a whole bunch of different things. And if you don't give yourself a lot of fresh, clean water on a regular basis, your cells and your organs and your tissues, they don't have the building blocks they need to do their job. They can't clean themselves, they can't renew themselves, and they can't do the processes that give you energy. It would be like taking your car and not putting any oil or any gas in it, and then taking it out and driving it. Imagine how much that would stress out your car and how much faster it would wear out. We have this spectacular system inside of our bodies called the immune system. And the immune system, okay, a lot of people think, well, the immune system is only there for if we get sick to fight off the sickness. And that's not really what the immune system is about at all. The immune system is here to keep you from getting sick in the first place. The immune system is here to fight off the enemy and to keep all of our health systems running perfectly so that we don't get sick. And sure, if we do get sick, the immune system gets all pumped up and it gets activated and it heats your body up and gives you a fever and makes all these different changes inside of you to fight off the sickness like a war. But here's the reality of the situation. If you get sick, then you've already screwed up. Okay, you screwed up before you got sick. It's not about getting sick and then trying to figure out how to get better. It's figuring out how to keep your immune system in top shape so you don't get sick in the first place. So that's just one of the many amazing systems that our body has on a basic fundamental level that we don't even really think about and we don't address and we don't give it basic building blocks. How about your emotional system? Your emotional system has all kinds of natural, miraculous built-in processes to help you when you see something, an opportunity in front of you to take advantage of, that it builds you up and it releases all of these chemicals and it makes you feel more optimistic and it makes you feel more like being energized and motivated and inspired. It also has natural systems built in so that if you lose someone in your life, if someone, God forbid, someone dies, or if a relationship is broken in some way, that you go through a time when it pulls you down and you go through a natural cycle of grieving. Okay? All of these are natural processes that we have wired in. What do a lot of people do? They block their emotions when they come up and they don't let them work. And then they carry tension around in some part of their body, and it's actually emotional tension. It's not really a physical tension at all. Okay? Psychologically or mentally, the mental process that we have. I mean, this is, we could talk literally for weeks just about this one area. The mind has many, many, many very complex, very specialized processes for keeping itself healthy, most of which we don't even understand yet. There are theories about what happens when you sleep and when you dream, that's your mind's time to go work out what it learned during the day. It's your mind's time to take all of the hard things that it couldn't look at when you were awake and to process them and to have them come up in a little bit different format or veiled with other concepts or with maybe a skin on them or playing out in a drama in a different way so it makes it easier for you to understand. There are many different processes that are happening inside of your mind that are there to keep it healthy, to keep it running correctly. And if you don't know what to do to keep those processes supported, then they won't work out. They won't keep working. They won't function right. So renewal is not just about resting, and it is about resting. It's not just about taking time off. It's not just about eating some healthy foods, but it's about proactively giving your body, emotions, mind, spirit the basic building blocks that they need so that they can do their own jobs correctly, so that they can keep you healthy, they can keep you energized, they can keep you optimistic and happy, they can keep you thinking very clearly. Now, sometimes the price, by the way, for being energized most of the time and feeling happy and feeling inspired most of the time and being able to think clearly most of the time is taking time off, is relaxing, is exercising and having to do hard work with your body, is having to be in intimate, close relationships with other people where you risk having your heart broken or losing a person, or it is learning to focus on one thing at a time, getting rid of distractions and interruptions, not putting negative influences into your head like, reading gossip magazines or watching the news or hanging out with negative people that just want to complain. Sometimes there are trade-offs, right? It is hard to do these things sometimes, but it is so worth it, because when you give your body, your emotions, your mind, your spirit the basic building blocks that it needs, it knows what to do, and it will do things that you just can't do consciously. So I've mentioned that an important part of renewal is just pure rest and relaxation. Earlier in the other sessions, we talked about taking regular breaks, about getting away, about taking time off, these types of things. They're very, very important to do. Okay, it's very important that you take regular breaks throughout the day. It's very important that you take entire days off every week, ideally at least a couple. It's very important that, maybe once a quarter you take a week and just get completely away from your business. Very, very important. Now I'd like to zoom in a little bit, and I'd like to talk about resting a little bit more. I want to really narrow into this idea, because if you don't rest, if you don't learn to relax, if you don't do this on a regular basis and you don't address the things that are preventing you from doing it, you'll still be stressed out. And even if you try to give your body, your emotions, your mind, your spirit the basic building blocks, they won't be able to use them, right? If you don't sleep, if you sleep 2 hours a night, it doesn't matter if you drink a lot of water and eat a lot of healthy food and have a good relationship. Your body's still going to be so stressed out that it won't be able to use those things to renew you. So I want to talk about two concepts here. One of them I call rest resistance, and one of them I call rest anxiety. You might want to write these down. Rest resistance and rest anxiety. Now, what are these concepts and what do they mean? What I've found is that when I talk to people and I say you need to rest more, you need to get a full night's sleep, test getting 9 hours sleep a night and see what that does to your productivity level. Or test taking 2 days in a row every week off completely, or getting away from your business for 1 week a quarter. A person will say, I couldn't do that. Or, when I take a day off, all I do is I worry about work all day. And so this is the resistance to rest. And it actually happens on a physical and emotional and on a logical level. So we feel anxiety when we even think about resting. If we try to rest, our emotions get riled up because we feel like we should be doing something else, or we feel guilty for resting. Or on a physical level, and this one's very insidious, we try to rest and relax, but because we're clenching our muscles unconsciously, they don't relax, and we don't know what to do to get them to relax. So we've got the anxiety about resting, where we just resist doing it in the first place, and then we've got the resistance to rest, where when we go try to rest, we can't make our mind calm down. We can't keep our emotions calm down. We feel guilty about it. We can't get our body to unclench. So we're going to talk about a few exercises to get ourselves to rest correctly later on in this session. But for now, I just want to bring your consciousness to the idea that if you're experiencing some resistance or some anxiety when you try to rest, that's perfectly natural. It's perfectly normal. A lot of people go through it, but you've got to go through it, and you've got to go all the way through it, and you've got to be committed to coming out the other side where you can take time off throughout your day, time off every week, time off every quarter, completely get away from your business, completely go into a place where you can relax your mind, your body, and emotions without any guilt or anxiety. You've got to get to that place. And until you're there, until you are regularly taking breaks, resting your body, renewing yourself kind of in a physical, emotional, logical way without any type of guilt, any type of feeling of, I should be working right now, then you haven't arrived there yet, and you got to keep working on it. Very, very important. Now, one of the things we talked about earlier in Wake Up Productive is this idea of the Ultradian Cycle that your body has, where every 90 to 120 minutes, your body says, you know what, I just want to chill out and relax, and that's the time when you want to take a 20 or a 30-minute break, where you want to completely relax, maybe have a small meal, zone out, take a nap, do some meditation, just lay down and let your mind wander. You want to do that on a regular basis. Well, actually, every system that we have does this. I read in one book that they've discovered now that the body has something like 200 different cycles that it's going through. 200 different wave-like cycles. Everything from how fast your heart is beating, to how fast you're breathing, to the Ultradian cycle, to the circadian cycle of day and night, to how fast you blink your eyes. I mean, all of these different things are happening inside of our minds, hundreds of them, and we've got to honor those things. So it's very important that you start becoming aware of the cycles that you go through and honoring them, being okay with them, noticing them, welcoming them. If you start to feel tired at a particular time of day every day, that might be the time of day to start taking a nap. If you start feeling unfocused at a particular time of day, that might be the time of day when you should stop working for an hour and go do something completely different. If there's a particular time of day when you feel the most focused and energized, that's probably the time of day to work on the type of work when you need to have the most focus and energy to work on it. By honoring these things, I think that you'll find just getting into rapport with your own mind and body and emotions by lining them up and going with what your natural rhythms are, that one thing alone can just increase your satisfaction with life dramatically.